So my name is Hans, and to many today, it may seem that everything is fine. Here we are, lots of beautiful people on a beautiful day. But in terms of the big picture, the world is sleepwalking towards a global systematic collapse, and we can't afford to ignore that. The central problem is that our economy is overly productive. We extract natural resources from Mother Earth more and more each day. In fact, some argue that we've already exceeded the carrying capacity of the Earth. Not only is the problem that we're extracting too many minerals, but then what we do with them is we process them, manufacture consumer goods that are often toxic in form. They're not edible, they're not compostable, they're not biodegradable, they're simply disposable. And what's really scary is that the amount of environmental destruction that occurs every day increases every day. So here we are with this rapidly growing linear system, but the world we live in is round and finite. And our economy violates a basic law of the circle of life, which is that waste is food. And when you violate the law that waste is food, well, the result is horrifying. So this is a picture of the carcass of a baby albatross on Midway Atoll in the Pacific, taken by the photographer Chris Jordan. And this unfortunate animal was fed a lethal quantity of plastic by its parents, who mistook those bits of plastic trash for food. And I'd like to read a quote by the photographer. These birds reflect back an appallingly emblematic result of the collective trance of our consumerism and runaway industrial growth. Like the albatross, we first-world humans find ourselves lacking the ability to discern anymore what is nourishing from what is toxic to our lives and spirits. So, confronted with these images, many of us feel quite helpless. We are overwhelmed by the beast that is our economy that no one can control. But I'm here today to talk about reasons for hope. But before I jump to how the internet provides us with a chance to turn things around before it's too late, I'd like to ground our discussion in a little bit of history. So this is a photograph of Trobriand islanders in the region close to Papua New Guinea. Now, they're not the only ones to have practiced a gift economy or generalized reciprocity. Simply, they were the first to be studied by the French anthropologists who coined the term. So we've heard a little bit today about what exactly a gift economy is. It's quite simply what we do with those close to us, with our friends and our family. When they need something from us, we give to them, and we don't demand anything in return, because we know and we can trust that those people will care for our needs in return. Now, the problem with a gift economy is that we only know so many people in the world. We can only maintain positive social relationships, trust with so many people. We forget names, we encounter strangers, and the bonds of trust begin to break down in social groups of a certain size and larger. What's fascinating about the Trobriand Islanders, however, is that they were able to use the gift as a means of diplomacy to maintain peace throughout their entire region. And they did this by traveling to their neighboring tribes, bearing enormous amounts of gifts, and leaving empty-handed. And in doing so, they were able to create a circle of giving that united the entire region through goodwill and gifts. They didn't require a state structure, and they did things quite simply. So today, instead of canoes, we have a massive global network that's known as the World Wide Web. And this internet is a global hive mind. We can all read from it. We can all write to it. And the world has seen, specifically right around before World War I, levels of global trade similar to today. But what we've never seen is a level of global communication like we have now. Here's another map of the internet. I like this because it captures the sort of chaotic and creative nature of the beast. So presented with this amazing tool, unfortunately, us spoiled first worlders like to think of the net as a way to check train times and look at pictures of cats, but I'm not going to show you any pictures of cats. While others, specifically in the Middle East, have used the internet as a tool for mass organization, for positive social change, challenging the most terrifying and repressive regimes. And that is very inspiring. So you may recognize this slide. What I really want to talk about today is a growing field of innovation that was first labeled in a TEDx talk in Sydney by Rachel Botsman, known as collaborative consumption. And collaborative consumption is a way not only to reduce the environmental impact of our consumption choices, but also to build economies that are about community and positive social connection. So this is GetAround. GetAround is an up-and-coming startup in San Francisco that empowers car owners to share or rent their cars with others. Suddenly, we've greatly reduced the need for new cars, and we're making the most of the transportation resources that we have. This works because GetAround provides car owners access to the reputations of all the people trying to rent their cars. They can see that this person has driven before and has done it well and that you can trust them. So we're able to build networks of trust online that are far greater than our immediate social circles. We're all willing to share our car with our friend, but would you rent it to a stranger? GetAround thinks you will. This is NeighborGoods. NeighborGoods is a sharing service based in Los Angeles. It gives users the ability to share cameras, laptops, backpacks, yoga mats, power tools, really anything. And what's really fascinating about NeighborGoods is that their initial revenue model was to give users the ability to charge rental fees, and then NeighborGoods would take a slice of the rental fee, but they found that the users didn't want to charge each other rental fees. They would rather share for free. And the reason for this was because the users found that by sharing for free and getting a positive review in return, that accrued to them a degree of social capital that made it easier for them to borrow from the others. So if you share for free, everyone loves you and is totally willing to share for free with you. And this is an example of paying it forward within a social network far greater than anybody's immediate, close, trusted group that is greatly reducing the environmental impact of our consumption and building positive social networks. This is OurGoods. OurGoods is a barter network based in Brooklyn. And the interesting thing about barter is that, like a monetary transaction, the premise is one of an equal exchange. And an equal exchange, also known as direct reciprocity between two people, is a closed interaction, and it's a complete one. There is no lingering social capital afterwards, and while the reviews do show that the person is trustworthy and will follow through on what they say they will do, there isn't a dynamic of pay it forward, for instance. This is Airbnb. Airbnb allows users to rent each other's apartments and rooms. So here, we're collaboratively consuming hospitality, but I also like to say that Airbnb users are collaboratively producing hospitality for one another. It's a tremendously successful and fast-growing startup. However, I would like to point out another group of people who are solving the same problem, but in a slightly different way. This is CouchSurfing. So CouchSurfing users host each other in their homes for free. In fact, my couch is available on CouchSurfing right now, and I had 3 people spend the night last night. It's a very wonderful way to accept very verified, vouched for travelers into your home and get to know them. CouchSurfing users pay it forward by giving each other a place to stay, and the assumption is not that the surfer will try to reciprocate or pay for the interaction in any way. Instead, both parties understand that the balance will come through interacting with the community as a whole. The surfer will go on to host somebody else, and the host will have a place to stay whenever they need to travel. I recently went to Montreal. So CouchSurfing is a huge success. It's growing quite rapidly, and what's really fascinating is that it's global. It has transcended the boundaries that have previously limited our ability to interact on a basis of giving with one another. Suddenly, I can host someone from Germany here in New Haven and then find a place to stay in Canada. far beyond the limits of people who know me, because we've been able to encode our social memory into this internet hive mind. This is stills from a video. It's a little hard to see, but released by Stanford. They modeled the growth of friendships on CouchSurfing, and the convergence of a community here is quite inspiring to watch. So this is my small contribution to the field of collaborative consumption, although I also want to emphasize production here. Known as GiftFlow, we are an open source, nonprofit effort based here in New Haven. We are largely inspired by CouchSurfing in that we want people to pay it forward, to open themselves up to the generosity of the community, and post whatever gifts or needs they may have. GiftFlow is also open to nonprofits and businesses. We are really trying to weave ourselves into the existing fabric of a community and strengthening it by recording people's generosity online. And I'll leave you with a quote from Lewis Hyde. Thank you.